Myers coming out of his house. What are you doing, Grandpa?
Walking.
There's Grandpa's lawnmower. A baby calf.
Oh, here's the young gentleman down there. Not yet. She never said anything about the ranch. I think she thinks I'm crazy. She's probably been too busy to check on it anymore anyhow. Yeah, that's my dad.
Okay.
Most of the rest of them I don't know for sure. That's cousins and brothers. And this is my mother's people. This is my mother here where her finger is. When she was a teenager. Her parents.
Okay.
Let's see. Just those two's always taken, ain't it?
Yep.
There's my first automobile. I built the body. I don't know who the people are that's in the picture.
Boy, that's pretty neat, Grandpa.
This is where I lived in Iowa, where I was born there in that house. And this is the first house we lived in when we come to Idaho.
Didn't look too much different, did they?
No, they were little. This one was longer than it was wide and was a two-story house. The other one was a story and a half.
Okay.
Here's Rose and Topsy when we first got Topsy. She was a 2-year-old. Green broke. This is just a scene in Garden Grove where my mother grew up. I don't know who the people are there. Postcard.
Horse and buggy days.
Yeah. When we first come to this place, we had an apple orchard, and that's the way we took our apples to market in baskets that way on a wagon. Here's a spray rig where we sprayed the orchard. Yeah, that's Dad and I in the apple orchard. We don't show too plain in the picture, but we was operating it.
Who took pictures back in them days? Did you guys have cameras or did...
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had cameras. Oh yeah, I can see it now. Dad was standing here behind us, holding the gun spraying. No, let's see what we got way back. Did we get this in the Leroy and Rosie?
No. Rosa was a baby there.
Yeah, she was a baby. She started riding young. She still likes to ride.
Is that when Uncle Leroy was riding cows?
That's the one that he broke and rode.
That was just a cow, huh?
She was, yeah, she was just a heifer there, about 2-year-old heifer.
So you guys didn't have horses he could ride?
No, we didn't have a horse at that time.
Oh.
And him and Marvin Marduk got breaking calves to ride, and that's... Now this picture was taken in 1918. I'm a teenager in there, boy, and that's my aunt and cousins over on the other end.
You're the only one with the tie on.
Yeah.
Must have been after Sunday
That
school.
was taken in Independence, Missouri.
Well, is that you went back there, or?
We went back in 1918 when this was taken.
Oh.
And they lived down in Missouri, and we stopped there to visit.
Is that when you went back there in a car?
Yeah. That's Dad's first car. We drove it clear back there and back again. Here's the first 4 generation of all Myerses.
Oh, that's Randy and Aaron and
Yeah.
Leroy and you.
Leroy and I. Did I show this one?
Nope.
That was the last time I was in football uniform. Honorary captain of the team at 85 years old.
You look like you were tough.
On my team, yeah. Did we take this family group?
Nope. That was family picture there.
Yeah.
Did you about go through most of them?
Did I do what?
Did you get through most of the pictures?
I think probably most of them is very important. That's just something you think about that you've seen here that you think ought to be on it.
Well, Grandpa, you said once you were going to milk cows till you were 100 years old. What are you going to do now till you're 100 years old?
Well, I still got a cow.
Are you going to start milking again?
I might start milking again. No, my ambition was to have 100 cows the time I was 100 years old, but I give that up.
Well, you'll
probably rather unexpected will have to happen if I do that.
Well, you probably lived to 100 because you did give it up. You might not have made it otherwise.
Well, I think you live longer if you keep going than you do if you quit.
Yeah. You haven't quit. Maybe quit milking.
This quart measure must be around 150 years old. Come from back in the Carolinas, north to Iowa, and then on to Idaho. It's made out of hickory, wooden quart measure.
Who made it?
Some of my ancestors way back, my grandparents brought it to Iowa. My great-grandparents did, I should say.
What's that on the side? Sticker.
Oh, nothing of any importance. I don't know. Can't quite figure out what it is. Telephone rates, different times of day is what it is.
Oh, somebody stuck on there.
Somebody just stuck it on there.
They measured quart.
Yeah, this...
What'd they measure in there? Fruit or sugar or?
Yeah, anything that you wanted to know. Stuff back east was sold by measurement instead of by weight in
Mm-hmm.
those days. So you bought a quart, or you bought a peck, or you bought a bushel. Everything was priced by measurement and not by weight. So you might have got a quart of sugar, you might have got a quart of coffee, you might have been a quart of grain or whatever. But quarts and gallons were important in those days because that's the way everything was sold in stores, is by measurement.
Little Ford tractor. This is where we keep the saddles. This is the building where he said his dad used to park his car. As you can see, it's not very big. He used to use it for cows. This is the bullpen with no bull in it. Loading chute. There's a bunch of cows. Nathan's cows now, but cows where there's always been cows. There's Grandpa's puppy, Tilly. There's the old windmill. There's the granary. The squeeze chute. Cut off lots of horns. Branded lots in that chute. Here's the shop. Right here is a bunch of rocks collected from the days of rock collecting. Back picture of the house, back of the house. Wild rose bush there. Driveway. The gas tanks. Here's the granary, the new granary. This has the floor of the old house from down below as its floor. There's the milk barn. Here's where the garden is now. You can see there's lots of weeds, sunflowers, corn. Over there's a bunch of tomatoes hidden in the weeds. There's Greg and Joanne's trailer. Cows. There's its mama. This is part Kinini cow. Isn't she pretty? There's one of the horses. This is Grandpa's bull. It's this cow's. Nope, it's that cow's last year's calf. This must be this year's calf. And there's her half sister, Kinini, with the cross with the horns. There's a big black cow over there, Angus from Grandpa's original herd. And there's another baby from the Kinini mixed horses. The white horse, the mule, onesie boards. It's on the right, old Topsy in the middle, An old king on the right, left. There's some old machinery out there. There's a tree down below. Cornfield. Without its kittens. And dogs. Bridget. Okay, this is Grandpa gonna show me some of these pictures here.
Well,
there. Now,
that's my dad and mother with the car there. My sister, and then up here in the other corner, Dad's sitting on a milk can. Mother standing by him, and that tree is the same tree that's the big tree out here by the garage now. And the picture in the bottom down there is Dorothy and Rosie and Dorothy's horse King. Down the other end of the place where we used to live.
oh, and that's the old house.
That's the old house. Took me a little while to recognize it. Looking at the horse and girls and wondering where it was and so on, and it suddenly dawned on me that was the house, the yard there.
What else you got there, Grandpa?
Well, let's see. Oh yeah. There's my graduating class on graduation day holding our diplomas.
Oh, yeah.
And the lady down there was Rachel's girlfriend, Pearl Miller. And then there's oh yeah, there's other girls down there, and Mrs. Dean that married us.
Who's the lady in the middle with the glasses
Well, that's
on?
Pearl Miller,
Oh, that's Grandma's friend?
Grandma's friend that lived neighbor to him down in Melbourne. And we haven't got it in here yet. So we get that bunch down in the corner down here,
Yeah.
which was Grandma's class when they were juniors.
Oh, right there.
Yeah. Two of those boys dropped out and didn't graduate. So I know that was the junior class when they were juniors there.
And there's Grandma, the big one in the front.
Yeah, she's the bigger one out in front.
Who's the couple right above him?
Well, that's that Pearl Miller and her husband,
Oh.
Lauren Lane. She got to be Mr. Lane eventually.
Who's the
And
lady?
the gal up in the corner
Mm-hmm.
was an Allen girl. She married Stingley Snyder. She's Chester Harris's aunt.
Oh.
She's sister to Chester's mother. It was her wedding that we were supposed to invest mine and bridesmaid at and never got there. Here's my grandparents' family.
And your dad is the one up there in the
He's
second from the end.
second from the end over here. It's Uncle George on the end, then Dad, and then Uncle John, and then Aunt Sarah Ann.
Well, they had 7 kids in their family. No,
Yeah,
6.
Then the Aunt Elma, then Grandpa and
Oh, 7.
Uncle Ernest, the young fellow there, and then Grandma, and then Aunt Rosie on the other end down in front. And here's the first Myers reunion that I ever attended. I'm the little boy down on the front row.
Who's the lady sitting next to you? The old lady.
I don't know. It's my mother with a white blouse on, standing in the front row down there, over towards the side, the lady from the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of those I don't know. Here's our wedding picture. better looking than they are nowadays. So.
Well, now, Grandma didn't look that heavy there. I suppose she was big.
Well, she wasn't as heavy then as she was later.
Yeah.
She probably weighed 170, 180 someplace in there then. She got up to about 250 finally. There's my dad and his three brothers. And these other four fellows down there are Breeches, Grandma Selby's brothers.
Your dad's the one with his arms crossed. How about that? He's the only one with the arms crossed.
Right, he's the only one with the arms crossed. Oh yeah. Now this picture where my finger is on top here was taken in Iowa when Ruth was just a little tiny tot.
Was it your mom and dad and...
I'm not sure, that's not too plain. This over here is the truck we used to have. Dad and Lyman on it there. International truck.
Oh, yeah.
Ralph Kamak's got it now. See, it's got Dad's name on it.
Yeah.
And then down here at the bottom is the house where we first lived in over between Greenleaf and Wilder. It's the other side of it from the other picture we had the other day. This is back after we put a porch on it.
What's the other house there in the other corner?
I don't know what that other house is.
There's some old pictures.
This is two of my mother's aunts there by my finger.
Yeah. 19, what does it say on top of there?
1927 is when that was taken. And this is my Aunt Dorothy and her daughter Irene, his mother's sister. And about head the rounds.
Mindy.
The cat and gown on here, I don't know, and it looks like the old Overland car.
That would have been the first car that your dad got.
Yeah, first car my dad had. It looks like it. And the history of my medical experiences.
Okay, well, tell me about your first medical experience in the
And they
at
took
home.
my tonsils out. The two doctors came out to the house, and I was scared and run off and hid in the timber. And then I got curious and come back peeking up to see if they were still there, and they run me down and caught me like a wild animal, took me in the house and put me on the dining room table. And I fought like a little tiger, I guess. It took three fellas to hold me, and they gave me too much chloroform. And when I come to, I was laying on the bed, and it had been a while, so I was laying on the table, and blood all over that, and I come to laying in that puddle of blood.
Oh, yuck.
And
how old were you then?
I must have been about 8, 9 years old, something like that.
It was before you moved out to Idaho.
Oh yeah, that was in Iowa.
Oh.
And then
So that scared you from doctors, huh?
yeah,
For a long time.
I wouldn't let my kids have their tonsils out because of what it did me. My grades in spelling before I had that operation were 98, 99, and 100. After that, I done well to get 70.
And your spelling.
My spelling, I could not learn to spell after that operation.
Huh. So you think tonsils have something to do with your
so I didn't
spelling?
want to see my kids have a tonsil operation. I learned years afterwards that probably the reason was they gave me too much chloroform, and that affected my mind. It was one reason I couldn't spell afterwards.
Hmm.
And then I didn't have any more surgeries till years later when I had a hernia and had to have that operated on in Baker, Oregon.
Now that was your eye surgery, wasn't it, in Baker?
Oh yeah, that was the eye surgery.
Yeah. Your cataract or whatever.
Yeah. No, I don't know whether, I can't remember whether my first hernia operation was before or after that. Somewhere not too far one way or the other. And then about 4 or 5 years later I had another hernia operation, and then about 6 years after the first eye operation, well, I had another cataract took off the other eye.
Yeah.
And had the last one done down in California.
Yeah. What about a dentist? Did you ever go to a dentist as a kid?
I've had a lot of teeth pulled. Yeah, I had a sick spell of rheumatism, and pretty near died with that. In fact, they told me if I lived, I'd never work again, but I fooled them on that. I've done a lot of work since.
Huh.
I was, about 30 years old when that happened. I was in bed for 6 weeks and just went down to skin and bone, weighed less than 100 pounds.
Now that was what was it that you had?
Inflammatory rheumatism. My digestive tract quit working for a while, and I just went to skin and bones. I didn't think there was any hopes of me living, but I did pull out of it. And yeah, I forgot about that. But that's about the history of my sickness and surgeries and so on.
Okay.
And Rachel passed away in 83, and about 14 months later I married Myrtle. Rachel and I lived together 58 years and 1 day. And then 14 months later I married Myrtle, and we lived together a little over 3 years, and she passed away. And then
you got some pictures.
Here's Myrtle's picture, Myrtle and I.
Oops.
Yeah, that's Myrtle and I.
Now that was taken
a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, here's another one. Myrtle on horseback, up in the hills, and then camping up in the hills. And then talking about horseback, and why, here's the picture of me down in Whittier, California on a horse, the El Bar S Ranch. And then here's another one of Rosie and I on her horses down in Imperial Valley, Southern California. And then after Myrtle passed away, well, I picked up another girlfriend, Irene.
Yeah, that's a good picture of her.
Yeah, that's a real good picture of her.
So you think you're going to marry her, Grandpa?
Well, that's a $64 question. She's got cancer, been getting treatments for it.
You don't know if you want to pick up a sick wife or not, huh?
Well, or whether a sick woman wants to get married or not.
Yeah.
Another question.
Well,
I doubt if we get married. We're good friends and go places together when she's able to, but she's been sick this summer, so.
Well, it's been about 14 months since Myrtle died. You must be getting the itch again. Must be the
Well,
timing.
that pretty well brings us up to date, I guess, on such matters. Is there anything else you can think about that you'd like to know?
Well, maybe we'll have to take a survey of all the relatives and find out what they want to know.
Around here got a few cattle left. Gives me a little something to do. Oh yeah, when I was 85 years old, they gave me this sweater, this letter, and so on, football letter, because I was part of the first football team that the Academy, Greenleaf Academy ever had.
And they never gave you a letter then?
I think I got a letter then, but it had years before been destroyed, and then when I went out on that team of for that alumni football game, why they took my picture and so on, and then the next year why they presented me with this, they got the idea I'd never had a letter, and said being as I'd been on that alumni football team, but when I was 85 years old, why they gave me
You
this
deserved a
letter
letter, huh?
and cap
As a momentum of your Greenleaf days, huh?
yeah, man of Greenleaf days, and I've been on the alumni team when I was 85.
Yeah.
Got a lot of attention. Got live on TV that night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
know. Didn't get
that
to see you
game
then.
was pictured live on TV. They
Yeah.
told there that I was 90 years old, but I wasn't quite that old.
And you didn't
Yeah.
even get to see yourself on TV because you were down there, huh?
I was down there, and they took my picture, and friends 20, 30 miles from here showed up the next day, said, didn't know you was in the country till I seen you on TV last night.
Huh. Oh, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, I was center of attraction on that, being the oldest one out there on the football team.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that was something.
yeah. So then next year, at the last game, homecoming game, they presented me, took me out there on the football field, presented me with this letter and this cap. So I got a lot of recognition in my old age for my activities when I was young.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. It comes back to greet you in your old age.
And, enjoy my animals.
Grandpa, how old were you when you accepted Christ?
I think I must have been about 15 years old, near as I can recollect things.
Were you living in Idaho
I
then?
lived in Idaho. Went to school out in Wilder, Golden Gate School, known as then. And went to Greenleaf Church. And we had a lady evangelist. So I was converted under a lady preacher.
Oh, was it like an evangelist that traveled just through Idaho? Or?
Yeah, evangelist went around and held 2 weeks meeting here and 2 weeks meeting someplace else. That was their plan. 2 weeks meeting on here, and that's where I was saved under women evangelists. So women preachers have always been rather special to me.
Do you remember who the regular pastor was?
No, not for sure. I think it was after Pearson quit preaching, but who came next in there, couldn't tell you.
Do you remember the first pastor that you can remember?
First pastor when I first come to Idaho, Ezra Pearson was the pastor here. Greenleaf's first pastor was Anson Cox, but that was before my time. He still lived here on a farm, but Pearson was pastor when we first come here, and was for several years afterwards. But I couldn't tell you who followed him.
Did your family always go to church?
Oh yeah, they were church people.
Did you ride horses down or walk?
Horses
horse-drawn vehicles was the only way of getting around. There were horseback. And I got a horse that could ride, while I rode the horseback quite a bit. Especially if I was the only one in the family that went. The whole family went, while we went in a horse-drawn rig of some sort, wagon, carriage, or something of the sort.
Did they have a special place to tie the horses up at the church?
Hitch racks on two sides of the church there, on the south side and on the east side. And where you tied your horses up. They were posts in the ground with a heavy cable that runs through the posts, clear along each stretch. And incidentally, I'm a birthright Quaker. There's not very many of them left anymore.
What's a birthright Quaker?
You don't have to join, you're born a member.
Oh.
So I never joined the church till I joined the Friends Church in Whittier, California. And I didn't cancel my membership at Greenleaf then, but yeah, I'm one of the few birthright ones that left. They changed the regulations on that and changed it over to you were just an associate member until you joined nowadays. But back in them days, you were automatically member in full standing if your parents were members.
Were your parents members then?
I wouldn't have been a birthright if they hadn't been.
Were they always Quakers?
Dad was. Mother people were Methodists. Her dad was a Methodist preacher. But her grandmother was a Quaker. Her dad's mother was a Quaker, but he was a Methodist preacher.
Oh.
And so I come from church-oriented ancestry.
So around 15, 16, you were around 15, 16 years old when you accepted Christ?
Yeah.
And then when did you meet Rachel? How old?
Oh, I was in high school. I was a junior in high school when she came to Greenleaf to go to school. And she boarded up the road here 3/4 of a mile with Winslow's and walked down past here, down the same road I did, so we walked to school together. And that's where I got acquainted with her. Incidentally, her people and my people were neighbors in Iowa when my dad was a little kid, before he was big enough to go to school. So there was a little affinity that way of having known families having been acquainted and friends years before.
Well, then after you and Rachel started going together, did you start? I know that you started going to the labor camps and doing that.
Oh, that was after we were married. Our family was born. In fact, our youngest one must have been high school age.
What?
We started working in labor camps.
What was the deal on that? Why did you start going to the labor camps?
Well, American Sunday School Union had services out there, and they needed some workers, and they come and asked Rachel if she'd come out there and teach a class in Sunday school. And so she got to doing that, and then eventually Jake would come into the neighborhood here and wanted to enlarge on it some and hold other services besides your Sunday school service and hold in different camps. And he had this big bus that he traveled over and held meetings in the neighborhood. Made it over into, in other words, it was a church on wheels. And he wanted us to take that over, so we did. Took it over, and we'd go to different camps. We'd leave here in the morning, and she'd go to what we call Kelly Camp, and I'd go to the Wilder Camp, and then I'd pick her up, and we'd start with the bus and go to Marsing and Homedale, and then back to the pea camp. Pea pickers were in the country. Put in the day. We'd come home in the evening. We'd start out early in the morning and put in all day going from camp to camp holding services. And it was my job to recruit workers to work in these services. In other words, get somebody to preach for us. And we got a good deal of our help out of the Nazarene College from Nampa. And sometimes some of the Greenie people, wherever we get, if we could find anybody that could talk Spanish at all, we got old Pop Knight. He could talk Spanish as good as he could English, help us out sometimes. It's my job to do that and to set up the public speaking system so that they could be heard all over camp when they're preaching. And I had set that up, and then I was bus driver to drive the bus, which was a church on wheels. It was an old army bus for home soldiers that Jacobs had got a hold of and used for evangelistic work, and he turned it over to us. So I had to care for that, drive it, and set up the public address system every place we went, as well as. So I never was a preacher. I was just a fellow that seemed to get the preacher.
Did very many people get saved because of it?
Yes. Well, as to numbers, I wouldn't give you numbers at all. One interesting day, just about time Sunday school was over, there was a man and his wife that hadn't been coming, walked in and announced that they wanted to be saved. Just out of a clear blue sky. They'd had contact with Christian people over a number of years, and they'd made up their mind. In fact, our converts amongst the Mexican people, generally we found out for 10 or 15 years they'd had contact with Christian people somehow. It took them that long to change their mind and decide they wanted to become Christians. But this one couple walked in, we'd never seen them before. Walked in and announced that they wanted to become Christians.
Huh.
Wanted to be saved.
What did Grandma do? Did she do any preaching?
Taught Sunday school classes where we had Sunday school. Some places we had the Sunday school class divide up and had classes, different ages classes, and she taught a class. And then when we went for an all-day trip that way, why we had to eat on the way, so we was gone during the noon hour and so on. So she helped bring food along to feed the crowd. There'd be a bunch of some Christian Mexicans who went with us. We got a bunch of young folks that helped sing and so on. Kids that like to go on that trip with us. Some of the Catholic people who let their kids go along with us, hoping they learned more English. Was their idea. They was teaching their kids English. They was also getting some Christianity ideas along with learning their English. And so we worked for several years in that labor camp stuff, organized a labor camp evangelistic association, which is what we called ourselves. Sometimes I can remember times we were sitting there on the side of the road there at Wilderham, and somebody would drive up and hand us some money through the window. Somebody just traveling by and seeing what was going on, wanted to support it. And basically the cost of running the bus and so on came on me, but I did get extra help once in a while from somebody that had $1 or $5 or something. I remember one time we blowed a tire and we pulled into the P camp, and the management from the camp come and gave us the money. He says, we're interested, our young folks need this, we want you to come. And so we got a little help that way, but basically why I furnished the gas and kept up the repairs on the outfit. That bus was designed to carry 100 soldiers, but they had to stand up to get 100 in there. We could have had seats in there so we could seat about 50, 60 people when you put seats in so you could sit down.
Who were some of the people that you mentioned, like Pop Knight, and who were some of the people that went with you quite regularly? Did Bud Clayton go, or?
No. Trying to think of the name of the old couple from Nampa, but They didn't go with us so much, but they went out there and held meetings a lot. Used to run a bookstore, Christian bookstore there in Napa, and Riley was the name. Yeah. He used to run a Christian bookstore there. He learned Spanish after he was 50 years old or so, and got to preach fluently in Spanish. On his deathbed, he was talking Spanish instead of English. He really put a lot into it.
Well, I know you also had the Good News Club.
Grandma was hostess to a good news club here for little kids for years and years, long enough till the next generation was coming back to good news clubs. It was kids up to about 5th or 6th grade, little tots. But she run that long enough till some of those kids had grown up and had kids old enough to come back to the club. So that run into 2 generations. I don't know how many years. But she was hostess. She wasn't the teacher. Mrs. Parvin from Wilder come up and told Bible stories to them. But it was held at our house, and we were hostess to the club.
Yeah, I remember that lasted for several years. Did that start right up after the labor camp ministry, or?
Probably overlapped. I think, well, we had quite a few Mexican kids to begin with, but that basically run into English-speaking kids rather than Mexican kids. There were some Mexican kids that come, and probably it started with as much the Mexican idea as the Americans, but eventually it was all American, or most all anyhow.
Did you or Grandma ever think you were gonna do any other kind of work?
We felt that was our calling, what we was doing here, and I was telling Joanna a bit ago, when we were going together and I proposed, well, she felt she was called to a mission field and I wasn't. I said, well, if there's ever an opening for you to go, I'll go with you. So that was the grounds on which we got married, that she would be a missionary and I'd go along. Well, what worked out was the mission field came to her instead of her going to some foreign land. And so she put in a lot of time mission work amongst the Spanish-speaking people.
Were you ever?
And got till she spoke quite a bit of Spanish. I never learned it, but she spoke quite a bit of it, and could go to a Spanish service and understand what the preacher said. She didn't learn the Spanish that you speak in the field and work and that sort of stuff. It was what related to Bible and Christianity that she was real good in speaking that. So I still got a lot of friends amongst the Mexican people that date back from the days when we worked amongst them.
Well, I also know you're involved in the Greenleaf Riding Club. How many years have you been in that?
I'm not a charter member. It was running for a year or 2 or 3 before I started riding with them. And
were they associated with the church at all?
yes and no. They were an independent organization, but basically church people, and we had privilege to ride on the grounds there. In fact, we rented the grounds from the academy, really, and we hauled. That soil was rather heavy, and when it get a little damp, it was pretty slick. And we hauled sand from Homedale and covered it with sand. And then we got grass seed and seeded it down. So the grass you got there on the football field is some that the riding club put there. And then we got our lights so we could ride at night. There was a rodeo over at Marsing, and the man died, and his widow sold us the lighting off the thing, and that's where we got our lights. And the riding club put up those lights that they use there for football nowadays. It was put there by the riding club.
When you guys go up on your rides, don't you have like a prayer time?
We all, well,
Or
we have a
service?
service, when we go over the weekends, we always have a service on Sunday mornings up there. We never go up without that. Used to, we put on a lot of drills, put on drills at rodeos over the country, but we don't do that anymore. We go to the hills for weekends, basically 3 times a year. Sometimes we take some one-day trips otherwise. Basically, we go up for 4 days, go up on a Friday and come back on a Monday or Tuesday. But we've quit putting on drills. We're getting a little too old for that. And we had a lot of younger members, and we were younger. Why, we used to do a lot of learning drills and put them on at rodeos.
Do you remember when the Green Leaf Riding Club started, or had it already began when you moved here?
Oh no, I was here a long while before that. It probably started, well, just guessing, say around 1930 maybe.
How old would you have been then?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'd be near 1940 because, yeah, it had to been because my youngest, Rosie, must have been in high school before that club started. Because she went with me when I first joined, and she was old enough to have a horse and ride it. Or it was pretty soon after it started anyhow. And yeah, it had to have been later because just right offhand I couldn't pick up dates right off. But, and the club had only been going a year or two when I first started riding with them. Ray Wright, I think, he's the only living charter member that still lives in the neighborhood. I think there's some that are still living that have moved away.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the charter members have passed away. Or moved away. Most of them passed away as far as that's concerned. But I suppose we're probably the oldest riding club left in the valley. I think used to be a lot of them, but they've all disintegrated, ceased to be. We still exist. But probably we were the only one which allowed no drinking or smoking. And no Sunday riding as a club. If you wanted to ride on Sunday, that was your business, but you didn't go out and represent the club on Sunday. We were not representing any Sunday ridings for the clubs or anything.
Why was that really important to be?
So many of those things were strictly a Sunday affair, and we were strictly non-Sunday affair. We rode during the week and went to church on Sunday.
So was that was to honor God?
And yeah, that was a Christian stand-on thing, and we was using church and academy grounds there, which was would have been inappropriate to have performed there on Sunday or anything that way. And we wanted to go to church, and we wanted to give our Christian testimony. We're not a Sunday outfit. We're a riding outfit, and supposed to be no smoking on the ground. If you wanted to smoke, you could ride out in the road and smoke, and come back in and ride with us, but you didn't smoke in there where we were practicing. And no drinking was allowed. Where a lot of those riding clubs turned into drinking clubs rather than riding. They did more drinking than they did riding. And soon they fell apart. We still exist after 30-some years. I suppose around 40 years that club's existed.
What's some of the places you've gone riding to?
Now you mean as a club?
Yeah, as a club.
What I'm trying to say, now we went and with other clubs, we used to go out to Wilder when Wilder had a club and ride on their grounds sometimes, and they would come up and visit us and ride with us. And then the Nazarene Riding Club in Nampa, they invited us up, and we went over and rode up Reynolds Creek and up through that country and over Whiskey Mountain with them one time as their guests. But and when we used to drill, we put on drills at the Snake River Stampede and the Caldwell Rodeo, and then we rode in parades all over the country, here Homedale and Parma, and of course this Caldwell and Nampa, and one year we even went to Boise and rode in a parade they had up there. But,
Then you've also ridden out in the Waihees, haven't you? And,
we used to do most of our riding over in the Waihees, but that was one-day rides. And basically nobody went, only people that were going to ride, because there was no shade with the rest of the family. And we got going up to the hills where there was shade with the rest of the family, and it became a family affair rather than just a riding. And you could stay in camp and visit with the rest of the folks if you wanted to, or you could ride with a bunch that rode. And we got a good deal of time. We'd try and go someplace where there was fishing not too far away, so if part of us wanted to go fishing, some of the women liked to fish while their husbands rode, or some of the kids did, or so on. So that's what we gradually worked into an outing situation rather than what we used to be.
did your family like to go with you on the rides?
Yeah, they liked to go. Once we got Rosie, of course, went when we went just one-day trips like over in the Wise. Rosie was riding, had her horse, and I had mine. And basically, and then when I got a camper, so this place, and we went to stay overnight and the like, why, Rachel liked to go on that. She enjoyed going on that. She thought it was a lot of work to get ready, but it was a lot of fun after she got there.
What about Edith and Dorothy and Leroy? Did they like to go, or?
They did. We weren't going back when they was growing up too much. We did get riding horses while Leroy and Dorothy were big enough to ride. Edith never got involved in the riding at all. We didn't have any horse when she was little. Well, my dad had a horse that we did ride some, but then we just rode it here on the farm. There was no group riding. And so Rosie's the only one that really got involved with this riding with groups and riding in drills and so on. Roy had gone off to college. He'd come home and ride some in the summertime. Roy always liked to ride. He still does. But, and Dorothy got in a little on the thing. She got a horse and rode with us some for a while, but she was growing and teaching school before she had a horse. So she wasn't home and got involved in too much of it. In fact, Roy owned a horse before I ever owned one. Neighbors had an old horse they wanted to sell, and he had the money. He come and said, "Dad, can I buy that horse? They want to sell it."
How much did he have to pay for it?
I think he paid $25 for it, if I remember right.
Was it worth the 25?
It was a good horse, and a good horse for kids. I've seen kids fall off of it and fall underneath it, and they just plant all feet and stand there just like a stone until you crawled out from underneath it. It wouldn't step on you. Kid fell off. Why, it stopped right there, didn't move another foot. So it was a good kid horse, and the kid rode it for a long while, and he finally got sick and died. And then I got interested
Did you get interested in the horses and cows about the same time, or did you have the cows?
I've always been involved in cattle, and I didn't have any horses. a long while. My dad owned horses, and I worked them, handled them, and so on. But they were his horses.
Did he use the horses to plow with?
Well, after we got a tractor, well, we didn't plow with the horses anymore, but we did use them for harrowing and cultivating on some jobs that way yet, and used them in the hayfield some for quite a while. There was quite a little overlap of tractor and horse in there for a ways. Gradually got changed over and got the tractor machinery.
Which do you prefer, the horse or the tractor?
Well, I've handled tractors so long I'm more natural with them than I am with horses. I haven't worked horses for a long while. Roy still sticks to the horse idea. He don't want any tractors in his. Well, he got too much tractor when he was a little kid. The old steel wheel tractors, which was a rough ride. Before he was big enough to go to school, he was putting in all day on an old steel wheel tractor, jogging over those lugs, which was a rough deal. So by the time he was a teenager and other kids began to drive tractors, he'd had all the tractor he wanted. Dad, I'll take the horses. You can run that old tractor. He'd had too much tractor. He still don't like him. But he got too much of it when he was too little. Yeah, he used to run that old tractor out there when he was too little. Well, he couldn't push the clutch in tight enough to lock it, that hand clutch. But he could push in enough to make it go, so he'd stand there on the platform and hold that lever up far enough to make it go, and go out here in the hayfield and pull hay slips all day for a hay crew. And I put him out to harrowing disc out there. When he was so little, the fenders covered him up. It looked like a tractor running around the field without anybody on it.
Do you remember how old he was? Was he about?
He wasn't big enough to go to school yet. He weighed 48 pounds. Because I remember we'd load a load of hay on a slip, and then he'd drive the slip while I'd pitch the hay on, and then I'd pick him up and throw him up on top of the hay, and we'd drive into the stack. He just only weighed 48 pounds. So he was pretty small when he started driving tractor.
How old were you when you started milking the cows and farming? Do you remember?
Oh, I was probably in my teens before I did very much milking. I'd milked some. But before I got to milking heavy, of course, I always did farm work. When I was 11, 12 years old, I used to stack hay up. My job on the haystack. We put up our hay by hand in those days, chalked it by hand, pitched it onto a wagon by hand, and then pitched it off onto a stack by hand. And I'd help shock hay, and then Dad would put me on top of the wagon to help with the loading, and he'd pitch up to me, and then we'd get into the haystack. Well, I got on the stack, and he'd pitch it up to me, and I stacked it. So at 11 years old, I was building haystacks.
What about on the cows? Did you always have cows out here, or?
My folks had always had cows. When we lived back east, we had cows. We didn't. In them days, you made butter and sold the butter. And by the time we moved to Idaho, you milked them and separated and sold the cream.
Did your father? Did he sell milk?
He sold cream before there was any market for milk. There was no market for milk. You fed the milk to the hogs and sold the cream. Or you made butter and sold it. After we moved to Idaho, people were still making butter and selling it at the grocery store. And you had a mold that you made it into a rectangular block, molded it, and put, I think you put your name on it, a paper with your name, if I remember right. Sold it to the stores and they resold it. Or you could sell cream. There was creameries around the country, a few, and for a while we sold cream. Hauled it to Wilder. The fellow that run the store out there, also grocery store, also bought cream and shipped it to Portland. And when we got our check back from Portland, and then finally we got creamers in here that bought cream, and then finally they come in with outfits that bought milk. I guess Carnation must have been the first outfit to come in here to buy milk. Before that, it had just been creameries, which bought only cream. Well, we did start a cheese factory in Greenleaf Run for a little while. It didn't last too long. That bought milk. And but it then soon went under. The business wasn't big enough to pay out, and unless people furnished the milk or market for their cheese, I don't know which.
Grandpa, when you and Rachel got married, where did you get married at? Did you get married in the church?
No, I was in the building right across from the academy there, two-story building, building. It's where the lady preacher lived. She was teacher in the Bible department in the school. We used to have a Bible department there at the academy.
Why didn't you get married in the church?
They was having church service over there. There's revival meetings going on. In the wintertime, revival meetings is going on over there. And we preferred this lady to marry us to anybody else that was eligible around there. So that's where we went. To her house and called her out of bed that night to marry us.
Well, didn't in those days, didn't you plan weddings out like you do now?
We didn't have weddings in them days. We just went and got married. Either to some parsonage where there was a preacher, or down to the courthouse to Justice Peace. Hardly anybody had weddings in them days. Nobody had money to put on a wedding. They just wasn't the custom like it is nowadays.
Had you been engaged to be married for a while?
Oh yeah. I suppose 6 months or a year. I don't remember how long. Probably a year, at least.
Do you remember proposing to Rachel? Do you remember how you asked her?
Just asked if she'd marry me.
Did she say yes right away?
No, she didn't say yes right away. There was the problem there of she felt like she should be a missionary, and I had no feelings one way or another, so I had no objection to it, and I agreed to go along. If she got a call to some mission field, I'd go with her. What finally turned out was the mission field came to her instead of her going to mission field.
Well, so then how old were you when you and her got married?
I must have been about 24, because I graduated in 23, and then we got married in January of the next year, so in spring of 23 when I graduated, in January of 24 when we got married, so I would have been 23 years old.
There's Grandpa.
I can see mine. Whoa, that's a big jump. I hope that pedal right on me.
Tell Grandpa to wave.
She had her ears up, so that'll look real good.
Yeah, shoot me another one. Huh?
I will. You got the. That one's good too.
I don't know if I can get a little different.
There's old top two.
Yeah, those are really good, Grandpa. That's a nice camera.
Yeah, I'll take pretty good pictures.
Come on. Good girl. All right. Come on. Way to go. Come on. Look, that was a good. Was
She's got the dog jumping up.
Fireman over on the left side of the building. We get a chainsaw. They appear to be trying to make the window bigger. They're going to be running some kind of drill. On the left, another vehicle coming in. This is Grandpa's house that we're getting ready to burn up. Been here for almost 90 years, part of it. Getting time to get rid of it.
Throw it back on? You want me to throw it back on?
Just pull a couple lines off the finger.
Okay. That's what
Do what?
Pull a couple lines. Which way is the wind blowing?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of papers in there that Mark wrote.
Just paper, not
You
gas.
move around there and see. I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to.
Really?
Quite a bit of paper in there. That he brought from his wife. See that thing? Kind of wet. Got a little smoke there. Can't get smoking quick, huh? You did it very long. There's nowhere for that to go. Yeah. All right, cool.
Good thing is you can see a lot from the door.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, that's hot right there.
Yeah, it's coming already. Get down low. The smoke's gonna go out over the top. Come up, get in there. That room gets going pretty good. Kids has got stuff on top. And once that room is done, see if it gets a flash over it.
Yeah, we're not going to stay here that long.
No. But it should get that room.
There's a pretty good smoke out of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, some little kid in his bedroom. That's exactly
Did somebody look
where we go.
upstairs, walk through everything?
Huh? I had marked it initially.
We did earlier, but
Today?
yeah.
Okay.
What's the hole in the side for? What'd you cut that one out
Just
for?
as a practice, like a bigger egress.
Just to take it, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
quick
Once
way to
come
get
back
out of here a little bit more, because that room is getting ready to fly. He's getting close to flashing now. You can see the
Yeah.
ceiling. So I didn't think one did.
Now, I do-
over the room of origin.
Do I need to be out in the road, or can I come over here?
Yeah,
And stay around outside.
Pretty good right now. Mark, you're going to be on training one.
Yep.
Want to charge the line? You on? Yeah, we're ready. Frank, you going to charge the line? You ready? Yeah.
Right. Coming through the roof. I don't think it'd take too long.
Oh, no. Now, it kind of gives you a reason why smoke detectors are so important to
Yeah.
get that early message out.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Let it warm.
Hey, we got some on this back. I don't know if you want to get it. Some of that cheat grass is burning.
Well, you get some good footage?
I guess so. Yep.
Probably sent a few mice running.
Yeah, I think so. Went dead in there already.
Yeah, that was way hot on top.
Yeah.
Oh, by those trees and got down like the fish.
I know.
If it got so hot, my shoes hit it.
Oh,
almost all gone. Sad. Already looks different.
Okay, well, that wall, man, see, it's still going. Woo! Man, that is tough. Oh, fire truck. Fire. In the top of the door 1 few seconds ago. Still burning. Why is it burnt? Okay, well that's about it. It's a different angle. But it's still burning. Man, that's getting in the way. Woo! That's good. Fire is hot. Been burning for like 20 minutes now. Or more. I don't know because we don't know when it started. But you can see from the fire. Like, oh, I thought I saw a spring in there. Now you can see. Maybe it isn't. Oh, cute. And you can see there. And then that's like fire. Okay? But, yeah. Enough. Oh, it goes pretty well. And there's a shell going to this over. And that fire is still going. What would you say, Mindy? How long would you say this fire's been going?
I think it took about 25 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. That fire is still on. Still flaming. Here's what it looks like now. Here's what it looks like. Well, we missed lunch. Mindy just said so. So we're about ready to stop, but I want to show you the one wall. It's still going. And if we cut a look over there, there's cooking right now. There's anyone else there? And oh, there is someone else we might know. to the fire. And that is just about it. And the fire is going. And, oh man, someone behind the fire or in it. Yeah, well, that's it. Well, I guess if you want more, I guess you should have come here. So